When you look at Hyperia, you see what most people would call a massive lack of theming. And believe it or not, your eyes are telling the truth to a certain extent, because it's kind of a little bit difficult to bend reality if you're not me. One of the biggest complaints Hyperia had at launch was that the theme was somewhat vague, and honestly, it hasn't improved much over the past year. Sure, Thorpe Park has treated us to nice things, like the new and improved grass and a very small sprinkling of trees, but apart from that, nothing has happened this past year in Hyperia's queue line. Wait, actually, that's already kind of a thing. But enough about trees and grass. Let's move on to the so-called good theming for this ride. Good being a very generous word for what I'm about to show you. While waiting in the queue, nothing gets more hyped than large metal signs plonked straight into the mud that tell you Hyperia's story. Honestly, I don't know how anyone could get bored waiting for this ride. I get why people say Hyperia has bad theming. It's in a park with Saw the Ride and The Swarm, both of which are super heavily themed. But it's not like Hyperia doesn't fit Thorpe Park. In fact, I can't think of a better home for it. The problem is just the high standards set by the other coasters, which is why it gets so much criticism. But if we stop being so negative and actually focus on the theming Hyperia does have, you'll see that there's more to it than people think. Personally, I reckon the soundtrack plays a big part in theming, and boy, Hyperia nails it. The almost 20-minute area loop is surprisingly diverse with a lot of really well put together sections. Then, as you step into the station, the soundtrack is fantastic. It builds so much hype while you're waiting, and speaking of the station, just look at it. It's probably one of the best themed parts of the whole ride. No, Gary, it does not look like a shipping container. Do you have eyes? Have you actually seen a real shipping container? Just because it's the same shape does not mean it is one. What are you, 3? Now, stepping outside the station, you can really see the design Thorpe Park was going for. It's got this modern, sleek style, big gold panels wrapping around the exterior, with 2 bold black sections in the middle. And right there, perfectly centered on the black, are Hyperia's wings. It actually gives the station a really clean look, even if some people still insist on calling it a shipping container. Gary. The inside of the station is designed to feel like the place where the goddess Hyperia forged her wings, and honestly, they've done a pretty good job with that vibe. You've got the sound of hammers striking metal coming from the station's soundtrack, an anvil tucked up in the top left-hand corner at the front, and some really pretty artwork across the walls that ties the theme together nicely. But my personal favourite detail has got to be the smoke and light effects during dispatch and station return. Paired with their own dedicated soundtracks, it creates what is, in my opinion, the best dispatch experience on any coaster in the UK, maybe even the world. Now the queue line, yeah, it has bits of theming like we talked about earlier, but it's definitely lacking overall. There are the signs, which to be fair do look quite nice. The grass, the trees and the mud, and that's about it. Oh wait, we can't forget that very calming, relaxing noise that the chain lift makes when you're waiting. I guess you could count the sight of the ride towering above you theming, but, I personally think the theme could have been built on a lot more, and if there weren't, budgeting issues, it honestly could have been so much better. The first thing I'd change, bring back the show in the plaza. Technically, it wasn't theming as such, but it added so much to the atmosphere, and honestly, I thought it was great. The area just feels weirdly empty without it now. Not only did the show explain Hyperia's story in a way that actually gave the general public a clue about the theme, but it also made the entire plaza feel so much more alive. Without it, the space just doesn't hit the same. Honestly, I think it's a real shame they got rid of it, so, hashtag bring back the show in the comments, guys. Let's make some noise. Woo! Oh, and because the area is called Fearless Valley, apparently Hyperia Valley all the time isn't enough to theme the entire area. Sure, the name could hint at that, but usually when you hear the word valley, you'd expect these wonderful little things called rocks. And sometimes, if you're really lucky, you even get a river too. So maybe, just maybe, Thorpe Park could think about, I don't know, plonking 236,000 boulders around the queue line and adding some rivers flowing around the area, because honestly, that would look incredible. And while we're at it, could we make it permanently sunset? That's literally how you marketed the roller coaster, so it's only fair that we bend reality a tiny bit to keep the vibes consistent. Heading back to the actual ride, Hyperia's lore is actually pretty good. The story goes like this. There's a goddess stuck on an island. Her name is Hyperia, who could have guessed? She's
imprisoned by the fear of the ocean's relentless embrace,
according to their official video. Then she spots birds flying, gets inspired, and makes wings of unbreakable gold steel before taking off and finding her fearless. I personally think the story has so much more potential for the area and the ride. It's a shame Thorpe Park didn't have the budget to fully bring it to life. Like, come on guys, imagine walking through a cave before the station where an epic pre-show would take place. It would not only be a really amazing theming element if done correctly, but it would also really hype you up before heading into the station. Thorpe Park, I hope you're taking notes. Instead, reality hits. You're stuck in a muddy queue line watching the true goddess of Fearless Valley, a seagull stealing someone's £12 hot dog. Behold, the real Hyperia. To be completely honest though, this is all coming from an enthusiast point of view. To the general public, Hyperia couldn't be better. Most people are probably at Thorpe Park for those feel-good thrills, not world-class immersive theming.
Hey, have you seen how tall that ride is? It looks really cool and scary, and honestly a 6-hour queue might actually feel worth it. Sure, it doesn't have the Swarm's level of decoration, but the duck's cute. Actually, the thematic cohesion of Fearless Valley doesn't align with the mythological undertones of Hyperia's lore, meaning that every little design choice, the signs, the grass, and even the muddy queue, technically contradicts the story of the goddess forging her wings and escaping her fear of the ocean. So basically, this ride is hopeless.
Oh, okay then, I'm sorry. Sorry, is everything okay here?
No, everything is not okay. This idiot thinks Hyperia is the best ride at Thorpe Park because it's tall and has a duck living by the shop.
Okay, calm down. Hyperia is the best ride at Thorpe Park in the UK, despite its lack of theming.
Oh, and did I mention how short it is?
And its relatively short length. Its elements and pure fun, and the duck, still give it the upper hand, making it the best coaster.
Right, I didn't want to have to do this, but...
Sorry, are you being horrible to Hyperia? Thorpe Park ban this enthusiast from Hyperia forever.
Hey, no, Hyperia isn't that bad. The layout is decent.
Only decent?
Fine, it's amazing. Thank you.
Consider yourself unbanned.
But it is a bit short.
Never mind. Banned.
Imagine if Thorpe Park just had a slightly bigger budget for Hyperia. What could the theming have looked like? Well, like I said earlier, making it feel more like an actual valley, with some rockwork, foliage and a few rivers, would already be far more immersive than what we have today. Add a few fog machines, some ruins, and even more soundtrack, and Hyperia could genuinely look and sound amazing. Yes, soundtracks, because 20 minutes of the area loop and 15 minutes of the shop loop is not enough, and that's not even counting the station and ride sequence ones. They could also add that epic pre-show cave that we talked about earlier, which in my opinion would be the best addition by far. Oh, and please, Thorpe Park, bring back the show in the plaza. Even if you just make it seasonal, it was honestly really good and made the area feel just a little bit more finished. Hashtag bring back the show, guys. So what do you think? If you could add one thing to make Fearless Valley feel complete, what would that be? A river? The plaza show? Or, 236,000 boulders? Let me know what you think in the comments. I hope you enjoyed this video, or at least got a laugh out of my extremely hilarious jokes. If you did, consider checking out some of my other videos, or maybe even subscribe, because there's plenty more coaster nonsense on the way. For those who have watched my last video, link in the description and the top right hand corner, it's very funny. I forgot to release your lap bars and deeply apologise that you were stuck in them for a week. That's definitely longer than Falcon's flight. Thank you so much for watching, I really appreciate it. Until next time, catch you later.